You're listening to the Dibbly Dobbly Podcast. Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe, and click the bell to make sure you get the latest episodes of the podcast. Be sure to like and share our Facebook page as well. Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Dibbly Dobbly Podcast. On today's episode of the podcast, we review the first ODI between India and England and preview the second ODI from Pune. It's the Dibbly Dobbly Podcast, and let's get started. Let's have a look at the match summary from the first ODI between India and England from Pune. India batted first and made 5 for 317 from their 50 overs. Shikhar Dhawan top scored with 98 off 106 balls. Ben Stokes took 3 for 34 from his 8 overs for England. England in reply all out for 251 from 42.1 overs. Jonny Bairstow top scored with 94 off 66 balls, and Krishna on debut took 4 for 54 from 8.1 overs for India. India won by 66 runs, and Shikhar Dhawan was named man of the match. What were some of the key points and key factors that really decide this game into India's favour, and which led them to winning this game? I thought their batting was key. To get a score of 317 is a pretty good score in a one-day game. They did well to back the partnerships. I thought the partnerships of Dhawan and Rohit Sharma for 64 for the first wicket, Dhawan and Kohli for 105 for the second wicket, Rahul and Krunal Pandya on debut, 112 unbeaten for the sixth wicket, were pretty crucial in India getting the score of 317. I thought the late order hitting from KL Rahul and Krunal Pandya on debut, the partnership of 112 not out for the sixth wicket, pretty much gave India that momentum and really helped them to get above that score of 300 plus. In the end, 317. I thought that was pretty crucial for India. So that partnership really got the momentum for India into the run chase, obviously. So India had all the momentum heading into the run chase. We saw of England, they got off to a good start with the bat. But this is where I thought the game really changed, and it pretty much was the telling factor in the game in general. The partnership between Jonny Bairstow and Jason Roy of 135 for the first wicket. Now, if those two batted on for a few more overs and the partnership got up to around about 200, then you would have said England were winning this game hands down, because there's nowhere back for India. If a side's none for 135, you usually win the game. Unfortunately, what happened was England had a batting collapse. India broke the partnership between Bairstow and Roy, and unfortunately that was the telling factor in this game, because after that partnership was broken, England just kept losing wickets. And when that happens in a one-day innings, you lose the momentum, the required run rate goes up, the pressure's back on you as a chasing side in the run chase. And unfortunately for England, they just couldn't stop the flow of wickets. And that was pretty much their downfall, and that's pretty much the telling factor and the key moment in this game, which led to India winning this match and leading in the series 1-0. Let's have a look at the team's performances from this first ODI in Pune. We'll start with India's team performance. We'll have a look at their batsmen. Rohit Sharma 28, Dhawan 98, Kohli 56, Iyer 6, KL Rahul 62 not out, Hardik Pandya 1, and Krunal Pandya 58 not out. That's how the batsmen went about things in this first ODI for India. We'll have a look at their bowlers. 4 wickets on debut for Krishna, 3 wickets for Thakur, 2 wickets for Kumar, a wicket for Krunal Pandya on debut, no wickets for Kuldeep Yadav. That's how India performed as a team in this first ODI. I thought India performed really well in this game. It was a clinical performance from India. Pretty much a very good performance indeed. I thought the batting display from India was pretty good. They were able to back up partnerships. It started with the partnership between Dhawan and Sharma, Rohit Sharma, 64 for the first wicket. I thought that pretty much set the tone for India because England were bowling pretty well up front. India were a bit watchful and a bit patient, but they chose their moment to attack and release the pressure, and they did. And that opening partnership pretty much set the tone for the rest of the innings. That was backed up by the second wicket partnership between Dhawan and Kohli of 105 for the second wicket. India lost a few wickets after that partnership, but the partnership for the sixth wicket of 112 not out between KL Rahul and Krunal Pandya on debut was pretty impressive. Obviously, the late order hitting from them got the momentum back for India in the innings, because I thought when they lost those wickets after Dhawan and Kohli in that partnership, I thought when they lost those wickets, they sort of lost a little bit of momentum, and it was very good from Rahul and Krunal Pandya, that late order hitting to get India's momentum back, and firing was pretty good from them, obviously. That got the momentum back in India's innings, which propelled them to get a score of around about 317, which is a pretty good score. So it was a pretty good partnership between Rahul and Krunal Pandya, as I said before, to get the momentum back in India's innings and to get that momentum heading into the run chase as well. So overall, the batting performance was pretty good from India. Everyone did their role, everyone chipped in, contributed, so that's good signs for the rest of the series and for the future. The bowling display, once again, was brilliant from India. England got off to a good start. Jason Roy and Johnny Bairstow added 135 for the first wicket, unbeaten at that stage of the match. And probably people watching the match, you would have said, well, if England are none for 135, chasing 317, you think England are favourites to win, and it's going to be a long way back for India, because if you're in that situation, you have to bowl the opposition out if you are the bowling side. So India, they were the bowling side. They had to bowl England all out, essentially, to win this game. And they did. Once they broke that partnership between Bairstow and Roy, it sort of went downhill for England after that, really. The wickets fell. England had a batting collapse. Wickets kept falling. India just managed to take wickets one after the other, which really slowed England's momentum and pretty much cost England the game, really. It was England's game to lose, basically. Unfortunately, a batting collapse happened. India took the wickets when they needed to, and they bowled England out to win this game and to lead 1-0 in the series. I was very impressed with the bowlers. I was very impressed with Krishna on debut. 4 wickets for him. He's a real talent. Thakur, yet again, 3 wickets for him, chipping in with his 3 wickets and doing well. Kumar bowling well again, 2 wickets. And a wicket for Krunal Pandya on debut. He had a very good ODI debut, Krunal Pandya. Made 58 not out with the bat and took a wicket, which is brilliant stuff from him. So the bowling performance overall was a pretty good bowling performance from India. It's just something about India's bowling attack which has that versatility about it. They're all great bowlers in their own right, but they offer something different to this attack. They all have different skill sets, and they bring that versatility within the attack. That's why this Indian attack is a pretty good attack in these conditions in India. So very good signs for India in terms of the bowling. Overall, I thought it was a great performance from them, from India. Once again, India showing their depth and their talent within their squad. We saw it in the Australia Test Series when those players were asked to come in and make their debut. They performed when it really mattered the most. The same in the Test Series against, the same in the Test Series against England, and also in the T20 series. And now we've seen that in the ODI series now with Krishna and Krunal Pandya in the ODIs. It just shows how much talent India have in this ODI squad, and their depth is unbelievable. So great signs for India, great win. I think we're going to see another brilliant performance from them in this series again. They're going to be hard to beat for the rest of this series. Let's have a look at England's team performance in this first ODI in Pune. We'll start with their batsmen: Roy, 46, Bairstow, 94, Stokes, 1, Morgan, 22, Butler, 2, Billings, 18, Ali, 30. Let's have a look at their bowlers. 3 wickets for Stokes, 2 wickets for Mark Wood, no wickets for Ali, Sam and Tom Curran, and Adil Rashid. That's how England went about things as a team in this first ODI in Pune. A disappointing result, I think, from England. We'll start with their bowling performance first up. I thought they bowled pretty well. Early on in the Indian innings, they bowled pretty well. They kept it tight. They fielded well. But once India started going, they just leaked too many runs, I think. Once India got that momentum and got that rhythm in their batting, it was pretty much hard to stop the scoring rate from England's point of view with the ball. It was a pretty good surface in Pune, and they weren't able to slow the runs down, England, unfortunately. I thought the partnership between Rahul and Krunal Pandya of 112 unbeaten for the 6th wicket pretty much summed up England's bowling performance, because that partnership cost England in terms of chasing in their run chase. Therefore, they were chasing a total around about 317. So they would have liked to kept India down below 300 or in the mid 300s. Unfortunately, it was up to 317. So that partnership got the momentum for India and heading into the run chase. And for England, they wouldn't have liked to concede that partnership late in the Indian innings. So the bowling, I thought they were just a bit off towards the end. They mis-executed their lines and lanes, didn't really quite bowl to the fields, didn't really build pressure. It was very hard on a good surface to do that. So the bowling display wasn't their best for England. We'll come to their batting performance now, and I thought the batting was quite good up front. Obviously, the partnership between Roy and Bairstow for 135 for the first wicket, unbeaten. When you're chasing 317, that is an excellent start. And usually when you're in that position, you're usually expected to win the game. Most sides will not lose a game from that position. If Roy and Bairstow batted on and got the partnership to 200, for example, batted a few overs and got it to 200, it would have been England for the win. Unfortunately, the partnership was broken by India. We saw a massive batting collapse from England. To be none for 135, to be bowled out for 251 is a terrible batting collapse. Absolutely a terrible batting collapse. The scores after that batting collapse were this. After Roy and Bairstow, Stokes got 1, Morgan 22, Butler 2, Billings 18, Ali 30, Sam and Tom Curran 12 and 11, Rashid 0 and Mark Wood 2 not out. So it was a very terrible batting collapse from England. I just thought when they lost the first wicket, I thought a bit of normality was required, a bit of sensibility was in order with the batting. Now we know how England go about their cricket. They're always going to be an attacking style team. They're going to play that aggressive type cricket where they're going to attack every ball, look to score and all that. But I think it comes off and it doesn't. Unfortunately for England, it didn't come off. We know they do that so well and they win most games in one-day cricket. But I think in this situation, when you're none for 135, I think you just need to play sensible cricket and then pick your moments when to attack. So I thought they just overdid that a bit. I think the absence of Joe Root pretty much cost him, I think. When Joe Root's in this side, he's sort of that stability type player who adds that stability and calmness in the batting order. He can just nudge it around for singles and that, work singles in the gaps and all that. And the batsman at the other end, like, for example, a Roy or a Bairstow or a Butler or something, can go out and attack, and let Joe Root do what he does in the batting order and just nudges it around in the gaps and pick singles and that. I think with his absence, they sort of lack that stability and calmness in the batting order. And it showed in this game with the batting collapse. So I think England just needed to play some sensible cricket. I think they just went a bit too much with the attacking side. They over attacked rather than just saying, right, let's just play sensible here for a moment. But we know with England, that's the style they play. So anything they do, Owen Morgan has said, this side is going to be attacking. We're going to play our cricket that way. We're not going to change it. That's fair enough. But I just would have thought, be a bit sensible because you're none for 135. You should really win the game, really. Unfortunately, they didn't. So that's a disappointing performance there with the bat for England. So overall, a disappointing performance with the bat and ball for England. There's a lot of areas to work on. They would have expected to win the game after being none for 135. Then to be bowled out for 251 is a bit of a concern. So, yet again, a batting collapse again for England. Can they bounce back and try and level the series at 1-1? Absolutely, they can. They're a quality side. They've got some class players. They can definitely bounce back. But they need to learn from this game going forward to stay in the series, hopefully, win the next game, and look at the areas to improve on. So hopefully they can win the next game and hopefully stay in the series and take this series to a deciding match for the third and final ODI if they can. Let's have a look at both teams' potential 11s heading into the second ODI in Pune. We'll start with India. India have got a few injury concerns on their side from this first game. Rohit Sharma with an elbow injury, Suresh Iyer with a shoulder injury. Now, what we do know is Suresh Iyer has been ruled out of this ODI series. India have confirmed that he will not take part for the rest of the series with that shoulder injury. He went to dive in the field and popped out the shoulder, which happens. So a terrible, terrible injury there. Also, they have confirmed he will miss the first half of the IPL. So that's a big blow for the Delhi Capitals. Obviously, Suresh Iyer being the captain and one of their key batsmen and players for the Capital side in this year's IPL. So that's a big blow for the Capitals. But let's hope he recovers quickly and he can take part in the IPL if he can. Now, I think Rohit Sharma will take his place in the 11 for India. I think he will take his place in the 11. That elbow injury to me doesn't look too bad. Obviously, you're going to be a bit sore and tender there, but he batted okay after he got hit. So I think he'll take his place in the 11 for the next game. The question is, who will replace Suresh Iyer? There are three candidates probably going to replace him, either Shubman Gill, Suryakumar Yadav, or Rishabh Pant. If I had to choose one of them, I think I'll tend to go for Suryakumar Yadav. The reason I say Suryakumar Yadav is he's really impressed me since he's made his T20 debut for India. He's looked pretty good at international level, and it wouldn't be a bad thing for India to try him out. They've already tried him out in T20 cricket, and he's already done well in the 2 games he's already played. So I don't think it's a bad thing from India to try him out and see what he is in one-day cricket compared to T20 cricket. So he's definitely a talented player. He will be a very good player for India. It wouldn't be a bad thing for India to try him out. So the likely 11 India could have is Rohit Sharma, Dhawan, Kohli, Suryakumar Yadav, Rahul, Hardik and Krunal Pandya, Thakur, Kumar, Kuldeep Yadav or Krishna. So that's probably the sort of 11 India may go into this second ODI with. Now, let's have a look at England's potential 11 for this second ODI in Pune. As with India, India have their injury concerns. England also have their injury concerns as well. Owen Morgan injured his hand during the first ODI. Sam Billings sprained his collarbone. So some injury concerns there for England. Now, the question is, if Morgan and Billings aren't fit to take their place in the 11, who replaces them? Well, Dawid Malan has been named as a standby player in this ODI squad for England. So if Morgan's not fit, I think he will be the obvious choice to replace Morgan. So Dawid Malan to replace Morgan if Morgan's not fit. With Sam Billings, I don't think he'll play the next game. He hasn't broken his collarbone, which is good. But he's sprained it. So I don't think he'll play the next game. I think England will be taking the cautious route, not risking it, probably going to rest him for this next game. Who's going to replace him? I think Liam Livingstone may come into the 11 to replace him and potentially make his ODI debut for England. So he will be probably the likely candidate to replace Sam Billings. I think the other change that England may make to their side is probably a change in the bowling attack, probably taking taking his brother out, Tom Curran, out of the side, probably replacing him with either a Topley or a Parkinson, just to give them a go, see what they can do for England. Just change things up a bit with the bowling attack. So they may make that change. So the likely 11 for England could be Roy, Bairstow, Stokes, Morgan if fit, Malan to replace him, Butler, Livingstone, Ali, Sam Curran, Topley or Parkinson, Rashid and Mark Wood. Could be the potential 11 England may have for this second ODI, but those are my predicted 11s for both teams, and probably both teams may go into the second ODI with those 11s, but we shall see what happens before the toss for the second ODI. But those are just my predicted 11s. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen, but I think both teams may go into the second ODI with those teams, but we shall see. What can we expect to see in the second ODI in Pune between these two teams? I think we're going to see another great game of cricket. I think we're going to see another great high-scoring affair, as we saw in Game 1. I think we're going to have another good batting surface, and I think here in Pune, obviously, it's a very high-scoring ground, so we're going to see a high-scoring game again. I think we're going to see a good batting surface again, two good batting sides, two good teams. It's going to be a great game of cricket, I think. What's at stake for both teams in this game? Well, if India win this second ODI, it's pretty much the series won for them. For England, they have to win this game to stay in the series and take the series to a decider. I hope we see that, but it's going to be a lot of work for England to bounce back after what we saw from India in this first game. So I think who's going to win this game? I think India may win this second ODI because I think with the momentum they've got from this first game, it's going to be very hard for England to wrestle that momentum back off India. But as we know in one-day cricket and as we know in cricket in general, it's a very unpredictable game and things that you plan out may not go to plan. So it's whoever executes their skills on the day in one-day cricket will win you the game and you'll get the victory. So whoever executes their skills well in Game 2, either India or England, they will win the game. So for me, I think India may get the job done, but I won't be surprised if England bounce back and take the series to a decider. But let's hope we get a good game of one-day cricket, and may the best team win. Well, that's the end of the innings to close the play for this episode of the podcast. Be sure to subscribe and click the bell to get the latest episodes of the podcast, and like and share our Facebook page. Until next time, keep safe, and bye for now.